Hello, my emerging scientists. Welcome to my channel Shikha. I hope you have already subscribed to the channel. If not, then smash your subscribe button right now. Whenever you are through watching this video, do not forget to comment with your name. When you comment, I feel connected. Like last time, Sohana, Arni and Anmol commented, so I know they watch my video and I feel connected. Vacations are the time when we should explore more about subjects and widen our knowledge. But this is the time, and here is the way you can explore more about science. You can just spread your arms and dive into the deep ocean of science. Before we move ahead with the concept of life process, in continuation of my previous video, I would like to share more about living and non-living things, and would tell you how living things are also dependent on non-living things for their survival. Do you remember your building blocks, the Lego? When you put all the units together, you create a big house or any other figure out of it. Similarly, all the things around you, living and non-living, are made up of small units or particles. Though those single unit and the particles are not visible, but when they come together and make something and make some object, then you see, because the size of a single particle is really small as compared to the big body. You see a house, if you remove the top layer of the paint, you see layer of cement. If you remove that cement also, you would find all the bricks together joined. And when you break that wall, you would get a brick. And that one brick is the one unit of that whole house. And when all those bricks come together, they make whole house. In the same way, all the living things and non-living things are made up of so many units. And if you keep that brick at the same place and go again back from where you looked at the house, you would not be able to see that one brick. Why? Because the size of the brick is relatively, as compared to the house, is too small. When you see things around you, they are made up of particles, but that single particle you may not be able to see. To distinguish between them, I would call unit for living things and I would call a particle for non-living things, and would tell you how living things are dependent on non-living things.
So we first take example of non-living things and consider gas oxygen. Oxygen gas is made up of oxygen particles. So when two oxygen particles come together, they make oxygen gas. Next we take example of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide has one C, that is carbon particle, and two oxygen particles, that is O particles. As you can see, it is written as CO2, that means one carbon particle and two oxygen particles. Let's talk about water now. Water is also called H2O. As it suggests, it has two particles of H, that is hydrogen, and one particle of oxygen, that is O. So this is how it looks like. It is combination of three particles, two hydrogen, one oxygen. So let's talk about living things now, that is plants and animals. These are made up of different units joined together. We usually call them cell, but let's not get confused, and I'll call it units.
You can see the picture on the screen, and it shows you those small units which make a whole plant. Let's talk about plants. How do they get energy and how are they dependent on those non-living particles? So plants synthesize their own food, and for that they need to absorb carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide the leaves take in with the help of stomata. And along with carbon dioxide, they require water which the roots absorb from the soil and transported to the leaves. And then in the presence of sunlight, the photosynthesis take place and glucose is formed as their food. And glucose contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Well, glucose only provides the energy, so along with that they need nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and these minerals are absorbed from the soil by the roots. So let's quickly sum up all the particles that they required for their life, and those particles are
carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Now talking about animals, we are always asked to eat healthy and balanced diet. A balanced diet is the appropriate amount of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fiber and plenty of water. When an animal consume carbohydrate, it means it's consuming carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. When they consume protein, that means they are consuming carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen and oxygen particles. When they consume vitamins, that means they are consuming carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus. While consuming minerals, they consume calcium and magnesium. And water consists of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen particle. So let's quickly sum up all of them and check with the plants whether they also require the same or not. Now here is the comparison of both, and you can see they both require same particles. So whatever we get from plants, and plants are enough for us, and this way you understand how plants are important for us. The idea of this video is to let you know how animals and plants are dependent on each other scientifically. So do not get confused with those many carbon, hydrogen, oxygen particles, atoms. Rather just understand how the science tells you about it, and keep it simplified for now in whichever terms I have told you. So I hope you understood how we are dependent on those non-living particles, and we are completely dependent on plants not only for oxygen but for all the particles that we intake and the particles which maintain our body.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and put a comment with your name. Don't forget to subscribe if you are coming for the first time.